Hello BookTube, welcome back to my channel, The Intellectual Reads, and today I thought we would just have a chat and a few wrap-ups of some books that I've read in the meantime. So stay tuned, glad to have you here. Alright, so first thing I'd like to discuss is the Read-athon that just passed for Women in Translation Month, hosted by Sciarappa and Kendra Winchester. Thank you guys for hosting this event. I would like to report that I only read 2 books in the time allotted, but it's summertime and priorities and whatnot. Having said that, I would also like to let you guys know that I'll be looking to finish the remainder 5 books within the year. So hopefully by New Year's we will have read 7 awesome books. Right, so the 2 books that I did end up reading, the first book was Wait Blink, a novel by Gunhild. And the reason I read this is because I know Sciarappa commented on the video that he recently read this book. So I thought, why not put a review up, see what people think. So that's the first book. The second book, also another viewer commented that Marguerite Duras was a favorite author of hers. And I thought, why not read this little novella, Yann, Andréa, Steiner, by the said author. So these are the 2 books that I read, and let's talk about them. Wait Blink is a very interesting novel, and it left me on both sides of the fence, and I'm still at odds with this piece of work. For one, I thought it was a very quick read. I thought that the author's imagination is definitely superb. I envy her for her imagination and the scenes that she creates within this book, and how deep she goes into her thought process. So, okay, you ever been to like a restaurant or wherever, and you watch 2 people conversate and you wonder what is going through their head as they, push out their words within the conversation? What other thoughts are they having? How are those thoughts influenced? Well, this is kind of what this book delves into. It's numerous loosely based characters that interact with each other, some in pure bliss, others in pure devastation. There's different situations created for them. All the situations are very interesting, but the main idea is to delve into their minds. That's not to say that there isn't a plot, a loosely based plot, that we follow 2 characters who I would say are the central characters, but they don't stand much out from the remainder characters. Everybody's given a fair share here. And while the characters are examined on a very, very deep level of how thoughts are influenced by the past, how thoughts are influenced by each situation, particularly how a statement can have such a different effect on 2 people in the same vicinity hearing it. So on one person it can have a negative effect, on another person it can inspire them. And what goes into these effects, how the self-consciousness plays within the realm of a conversation, how history can influence our viewpoints. All these different thoughts and ideas inspired on a minuscule level are explored here, and it's done wonderfully. And she creates very interesting and unique situations for the exploration of thinking on a deeper level. This story also explored how the media and the media content that we consume on an everyday basis influences the people we become. So there's a lot of references to movies, Lost in Translation, Kill Bill. There's references to books. Kafka inspires somebody here to, explore further. All different media outlets are explored here, and their influences also portrayed. One thing I didn't like about this book was the fact that I thought the writing was of a 9th grader. I definitely thought that the writing could be improved, but the one thing with books in translations, often you don't know who to blame. Would I recommend this book? I thought it was a cheap thrill. I enjoyed reading it. It's really a quick read. I think there's interesting discussions here. But at the end of the day, I think that you could spend your time reading something better. The second and last book that I read for this readathon was Yann André Steiner. To be honest, beginning this book, you're kind of in a daze because you lose traction really quickly. This is a story within a story within a story. Having read this book, I could present 5 different interpretations you could have of this text, and that's just for starters. The characters here are particularly interesting because one does not know if they are invented or real. Therefore, it comes across as a very artistic novel. But the amazing part of this novel is that the confusion adds to it. And at the end, you don't really care who's telling the story, whether this story is made up or real, because at the end of the day, you're reading a fiction by an author. So you're reading a made-up story. So does it matter if the author made up the story or the author in the book made up the story? You start to ponder these questions. But nevertheless, you're given 3 direct stories, none of them having a conclusion. But yet, through such dense atmospheres created within this book and the emotions within these characters, you will fall with every one of them. I have never seen an author with so little do so much. And the confusion within this book will make you want to reread it and reread it and reread it. I don't have much information on Marguerite Duras, but I would like to eventually read some of more of her work, because I think that she's truly an artist with her pen. It's as if her pen is a brush. How she melds her words and her short and succinct sentences into something so dark and ever pressing over you as you read this book. The environments created in here, let me tell you. This book read like it was... This book could have taken place inside an airport. There is almost no scenery. No attention is paid to the landscape. The landscape in this book makes this book. It will eat you up. It's the sea. It plays such an important part of the story. Just the atmosphere, just nature in itself. It's really amazing. And one of the stories is definitely magic realism. Okay, but it's the story within the story, so it works. This book works because it doesn't work. Does that make any sense? Finally, this weekend I went to the city and I visited 2 bookstores. One a charity shop, the other is one of my favorite bookstores in the world, which I am very excited to tell you about and show you all the books. But you will have to wait till the weekend for that video. So I'll give you a sneak peek and also tell you that I already finished this book. It was Inadvertent by Karl Knausgaard. It's a very, very short book. Another shorty. I usually read long books, so don't get used to these short ones. But it's from Yale Press, and it's Why I Write. And so they host authors to tell you how they came about to be writers. And in this book, you're given small snippets of Karl Knausgaard's life, where he explores how he became writer and what ideas are important to him in his art. Specifically, what's explored in this book is how much space does an author give within his work. Does he narrow in on something and portray an object, or does he give you the whole landscape? And how space plays with improving the work, how space should be utilized for a writer. And until Karl Knausgaard discovered this, among many other things that he discusses here, he struggled as a writer. So if you're a writer, I think there are very good things here. And as a reader, I find myself now going back to this book as I read further, and I want to evaluate the idea of space within a novel. So definitely recommend this book. It should be on any author's list, and these books are really pretty. I picked this book up because of Karl Knausgaard, and these books look amazing. I read The Struggle, all 5 of the books that have been translated so far, and I believe book 6 is coming out September, so it's coming out this month, so look forward to it. I know I will gobble it up as soon as I see it. Just something to look out for if this is an author that you appreciate as much as I do. And also around this time last year, I picked up the same collection from Patti Smith, titled Devotion, where she also talked about becoming a writer. So I think these 2 books will make great books on my nightstand, bookcase, and they're short, easy, and very informative. So definitely something you could always come back to, especially if you're a writer or if you want to read more deeply. So, 2 books. So that's all I've been reading, probably in the last 10 days since you saw me. And I'm gonna start with Gravity's Rainbow now, starting tomorrow. I already picked up the book. That's another book that will be in my book haul. So you already have a preview with 2 of the books. And I look forward to making a video this weekend with the book haul. And then I have some other things planned away from the house. And I know there will be a festival in Brooklyn mid-September, and I look forward to going there and possibly taking my camera to make a nice video, sort of like a vlog. So we have some great things coming up here. So I have some great things planned, and I hope to execute them. And I just want to say thank you to everybody who's subscribed. We're at 66 subscribers so far. I know it's not a big deal, but anybody who keeps subscribing, thank you for adding to my ego. Much appreciated. If you have anything to say about the books, please comment. If you like this video, leave me a like. Also useful. And I will try and leave links in the below. So if you have any questions, you might find your answers there. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your week. And if you tuned in late, I hope you're enjoying your weekend. Have a good one.